So, um, I'm back and recording with something that isn't my headset. We left off on page 41, chapter 13. I think? Yeah, it was chapter 13. Anyways, a bowling ball. I was carrying an old wooden bowling ball. The pale wood cracked and chipped. I don't believe it, Stephanie murmured, slapping her forehead. My eyes went to the wooden bowling pins, lying among Andrew's old toys. This must be the ball that went with those pins, I said softly. Stephanie grabbed it from me and turned it between her hands. But it only has 2 holes. I nodded. Yeah, in those days bowling balls only had 2 holes. My dad told me about it one day when we went bowling. Dad never could figure out what they did with their thumbs. Stephanie stuck her fingers into the 2 holes, the eye sockets. She shook her head. I could see she was really disappointed. We could hear Ada's voice booming from somewhere downstairs. Stephanie sighed. Maybe we should go down and rejoin the tour, she suggested. She rolled the ball back toward the pile of toys. No way, I exclaimed. I liked being the brave one for a change. I didn't want to quit while I was ahead. It's getting kind of late, Stephanie said, and we're not going to find any ghost head up here. That's because we've already explored these rooms 100 times, I told her. I think we should find a room we've never explored before. She scrunched up her face, thinking hard. Dwayne, do you mean, sorry. The ghost head is probably hidden in a room the tour doesn't go through. Maybe upstairs. You know, on the top floor. Stephanie's eyes grew wide. You want to sneak up to the top floor? I nodded. Why not? That's probably where all the ghosts hang out, right? She studied me, her eyes searching mine. I knew she was surprised by my brave idea. Of course, I didn't feel very brave at all. I just wanted to impress her. I just wanted to be the brave one for a change. I was hoping that she'd say no. I was hoping she'd say, "Let's go back downstairs, Dwayne." But instead, an excited grin spread over her face, and she said, "Okay, let's do it." 14. So I was stuck being the brave one. Let me restart. Chapter 14. So I was stuck being the brave one. We both had to be brave now. The twin terrors, on their way up the dark, creaking stairway that led to the 3rd floor. A sign behind the stairs read, "No visitors." We stepped right past it and began climbing the narrow staircase, side by side. I couldn't hear Otto's voice anymore. Now I could only hear the creak and squeak of the steps beneath our sneakers, and the steady thud, thud, thud of my heart. The air grew hot and damp as we reached the top. I squinted down a long, dark hallway. There were no lanterns, no candles. The only light came from the window at the end of the hall. Pale light from outside that cast everything in an eerie, ghostly blue. Sorry. Let's start in the first room, Stephanie suggested, whispering. She brushed her dark hair off her face. It was so hot up here I had sweat running down my forehead. I mopped it up with my jacket sleeve and followed Stephanie to the first room on the right. The heavenly wooden door was half open. We slid in through the opening. Pale blue light washed in through the dust-caked windows. I waited for my eyes to adjust. Then I squinted around the large room. Empty. Completely empty. No furniture. No sign of life. Or ghosts. Steph, look. I pointed to a narrow door against the far wall. Let's check it out. We crept across the bare floor. Through the dusty window I glimpsed the full moon, high over the bare trees now. The doorway led to another room, smaller and even warmer. A steam radiator clanked against one wall. 2 old-fashioned-looking couches stood facing each other in the center of the room. No other furniture. Let's keep moving, Stephanie whispered. Another narrow door led to another dark room. The rooms up here are all connected, I murmured. I sneezed. Sneeze again. Shh! Quiet, Dwayne, Stephanie scolded. The ghost will hear us coming. I can't help it, I protested. It's so dusty up here. We were in some kind of sewing room. An old sewing machine stood on a table in front of the window. The carton at my feet was filled with balls of black yarn. I bent down and pawed quickly through the balls of yarn. Cat reference. Sorry. No head hidden in there. We stepped into the next room before we realized it was completely dark. The window was partly shuttered. Only a tiny square of gray light crept through from outside. Sorry. I can't see anything, Stephanie declared. I felt her hand grasp my arm. It's too dark. Let's get out of here, Dwayne. I started to reply, but a loud thump. Sorry. But a loud thump made my breath catch in my throat. Stephanie's hand squeezed my hand. Dwayne, did you make that thump? Another thump. Closer to us. No, not me, I stammered. Another thump on the floor. We're not alone in here, Stephanie whispered. I took a deep breath. Who is it? I called. Who's there? Chapter 15. Who's there? I choked out. Stephanie squeezed my arm so hard it hurt, but I made no attempt to move away from her. I heard soft footsteps, ghostly footsteps. A cold chill froze the back of my neck. I clamped my jaw shut to keep my teeth from chattering. And then yellow eyes floated towards us through the thick darkness. 4 yellow eyes. The creature had four eyes. A gurgling sound escaped my throat. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I stared straight ahead, listening, watching. The eyes floated apart in pairs. 2 eyes moved to the right, 2 to the left. 2 eyes moved to the right, 2 to the left. No, I cried when I saw more eyes. Yellow eyes in the corners of the room. Evil eyes glinting at us against the wall. Yellow eyes all along the floor. Yellow eyes all around us. Cat-like yellow eyes glaring in silence at Stephanie and me as we huddled together in the center of the room. Cat-like eyes. Cat's eyes. Because the room was filled with cats. A shrill yowl gave them away. A long meow. Meow. Should I actually do a cat sound? That would be relevant. A long meow. I can't do a meow. I can do a meow. Sorry, I'll get back to reading. From the windowsill made Stephanie and me both sigh in relief. A cat brushed against my leg. Startled, I jumped aside, bumping into Stephanie. She bumped me back. Sorry. More cats meowed. Another cat brushed the back of my jeans leg. I think these cats are lonely, Stephanie stammered. Do you think anyone ever comes up here? I don't care, I snapped. All these yellow eyes floating around. I thought, well, I don't know what I thought. It's creepy. Let's get out of here. For once, Stephanie didn't argue. She led the way to the door at the back of the room. All around us, cats were howling and yelling. Another one brushed my leg. Stephanie tripped over a cat. In the darkness, I saw her fall. She landed on her knees with a hard thud. The cats all began to screech. Are you okay? I cried, hurrying to help pull her up. The cats were howling so loud I couldn't hear her reply. We jogged to the door, pulled it open, and escaped. I closed the door behind us. Silence now. Where are we? I whispered. I don't know, Stephanie stammered, keeping close to the wall. I moved to a tall, narrow window and peered through the dusty glass. The window led out to a small balcony. The balcony jutted out from the gray shingled roof. Pale white moonlight washed in through the window. I turned back to Stephanie. We're in some kind of back hallway, I guessed. The long, narrow hallway seemed to stretch on forever. Maybe these rooms are used by the workers. You know, Manny, the night watchman, the house cleaners, and the tour guides. Stephanie sighed. As she stared down the long hallway. Let's go downstairs and find Otto and the tour group. I think we've done enough exploring for tonight. I agreed. There must be stairs at the end of this hall. Let's go. I took 4 or 5 steps. Then I felt ghostly hands. They brushed over my face, my neck, my body. sticky, dry, invisible hands. The hands pushed me. That kind of reminds me of Elfin Lied. Sorry. The hands pushed me back as they clung to my skin. Oh, help, Stephanie moaned. The ghost had her in their grasp, too. 16. Last chapter for right now. I think you got sorry. The ghost's filmy hands brushed over me. I could feel the soft fingers, dry and soft as air, tighten around my skin. Stephanie's hands thrashed wildly beside me in the dark hall. She struggled to... Beside me in the dark hall, she struggled to free herself. It's like a net, she choked out. I swiped at my face, my hair. I spun away, but the dry fingers clung to me, tightening, and sorry. And I realized we hadn't walked into a ghost's grasp. Tugging and tearing frantically with both hands, I realized we had walked into cobwebs, a thick curtain of cobwebs. The blanket of sticky threads had fallen over us like a fisherman's net, and the more we struggled, the tighter it wrapped itself around us. Stephanie, it's cobwebs, I cried. I tugged a thick, stringy wad of them off my face. Of course it's cobwebs, she shot back, squirming and thrashing. What did you think it was? A ghost, I muttered. Stephanie snickered. Dwayne, I know you have a good imagination, but if you start seeing ghosts everywhere, we'll never get out of here. I didn't know what to say. Stephanie thought the same thing I did. She thought she'd been grabbed by a ghost, but now she was pretending she knew all along. We stood in the darkness, tearing the sticky threads off our faces and arms and bodies. I let out an angry groan. I couldn't brush the stuff from my hair. I'm going to itch forever, I wailed. I've got more bad news for you, Stephanie murmured. I pulled a thick wad off my ear. Huh? Who do you think made these cobwebs? I didn't have time to think about it. Spiders? My arms and legs started to tingle. My back began to itch. I felt a light tingling on the back of my neck. Were there spiders crawling up and down my body? Hundreds and hundreds of them? Forgetting the wispy strings of cobweb, I started to run. Stephanie had the same idea. We both ran down the long hall, scratching and slapping at ourselves. Steph, the next time you have a great idea, don't have a great idea, I warned her. Let's just get out of here, she groaned. We reached the end of the hall, still scratching as we ran. No stairway. How do we get back downstairs? Another hall twisted to the left. Low candles over the doorways flickered and danced. Shadows darted over the worn carpet like slithering animals. Come on, I pulled Stephanie's arm. We had no choice. We had to follow this hallway, too. We jogged side by side. The rooms were all dark and silent. The candle flames dipped as we ran past. Our long shadows ran ahead of us, as if eager to get downstairs first. Never mind. I stopped when I heard someone laughing. Whoa, Stephanie murmured, breathing hard. Her dark eyes grew wide. We both listened hard. I heard voices inside the room at the end of the hall. The door was closed. I couldn't make out the words. I heard a man saying something. A woman laughed. Other people laughed. We caught up to the tour, I whispered. Stephanie scrunched up her face. But the tour never comes up here to the top floor, she protested. We stepped up close to the door and listened again. More laughter on the other side. A lot of people talking cheerfully, all at the same time. It sounded like a party. I pressed my ear against the door. I think the tour ended, and everyone is just chatting, I whispered. Stephanie scratched the back of her neck. She pulled a stringy gob of cobweb from her hair. Well, hurry, Dwayne. Open the door. Let's join them, she urged. I hope Otto doesn't ask us where we've been, I replied. I grabbed the doorknob and pushed open the door. Stephanie and I took a step inside and gasped in shock at what we saw. That's the end for right now. I hope you guys can wait until next time. Yeah? Yeah.